Femme House fam, what's happening? Her mix a lot. This is Bonnie Beats straight from Miami. What's happening?
What's good? Nothing much. I'm out here chilling. The weather is bipolar as usual. It's raining and then sunshine and raining again. Very typical.
Miami has a special place in Femme House's heart. We do the Femmies there. We've been doing panels there and brunches there for the past 5, 6 years. What does Miami mean to you as a DJ?
Oh wow. Well, I gotta come out to one of your activations for sure. Um, but what does Miami mean to me? I mean, I grew up here. I was born in New York. I grew up here, and I feel like the city sonically influenced me on a great scale. And I think everything that I am as an artist today is because of Miami and the people and the culture that I was exposed to here. I'm Cuban Dominican, so my upbringing has also a huge influence, but definitely the culture down here, Miami bass mixed with salsa. Like we have a lot of sounds going on down here. So
It is so sonically diverse. Like you got Two Live Crew, you got Uncle Luke, you got Gloria Stefan, you got Rick Ross, like you got Kodak Black, you got it's all over the place. How does that show up in your sonic identity?
I mean, I think it's amazing because I for one, I mean, call me old school. I still believe in like the DJ being the dance floor professor and educating people. So I really like taking that to the next level and blending genres. So I did a 305 day last year. And I made my set like predominantly Latin, not Latin bass, Miami bass. So I took some like Kodak Black tracks and I put it over a Miami bass beat and I mixed it in with like, I think at the time, Kendrick had dropped his album and it was like the whole Kendrick Super Bowl moment. So I played some of his stuff and he also had featured like freestyle music. So I mixed in like freestyle and eventually segued it into baile funk because I don't know if you know, but baile funk also there's some freestyle influence there. So it just gives me an opportunity to just have fun, blend genres, and get weird with it, you know. So
What's the genre blending that the audience is in for in this mix?
okay, so this mix is different.
Oh,
I decided to go a little more ravey, a little more darker. Um, I had a friend of mine kind of like listen to it. She loves bass music, and I'm like, I want to know what her thoughts are. And she's like, I love it. It's like dark dembo, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. So I decided to kind of like showcase this kind of music because it's really what the underground scene now is kind of sounding like down here in Miami. We're really I think it's not that it's not a popular sound. It's been uh this sound has been popular for a while. I remember was I'm trying to remember. I'm really bad with names. Not Zoot Zoot, but the name escapes me, but it's a sound that's been kind of like poking its head out, and now it's kind of more prevalent. If you come out here and you go to the ground or Jolene, and even like sometimes for 3 points and like these bigger festivals that are based down here, you'll start to hear it. And I kind of wanted to just, showcase it to your audience, what's really going on down here in Miami and how sound's evolving. I hope that answers your question.
it does. How do you how
Okay.
do you how do you keep in touch with the underground? I know as a DJ, one of your ethos is like, music is to educate, DJ's job, like you just said, professor of the dance floor. How do you keep in touch with what's hot so you know what to educate on?
I think, man, you know what? I think we gotta be self-awareness. You gotta know where you're lacking or when you're being an old head about things. I've been doing this for almost 15 years. So I know when I'm a little bit outside of my element and just to go outside and just be, and be like, okay, tonight I'm learning. Tonight I'm going to see what this is about, what's really moving people. Like I said, I think it's self-awareness. There's times where I'll be playing a set and it just does not land. It does not work. Or I can tell like it's a predominantly like younger crowd and they're like not getting the references. I'm like, uh-oh, I think maybe I just get it, just self awareness, and that's when I'll be like, okay, wait a minute, let me see where they're going, what's popping. Let me go outside. Let me like dedicate a Saturday to this, or if I have a gig, like maybe if it's an early gig, I'll stay outside and go to another party, pay the cover, you know, meet the promoter or don't meet him at all. Just be a spectator. And that's kind of I feel like how I stay in the loop, at least in terms of the scene. And and then online, I just I think there's like there's a page called Kids Takeover, and I kind of just stay on top of those kind of pages too, like what sounds are coming up now, what are like the upcoming artists, things like that.
How do you in your sets, like how do you tie the past, like and the references and the education you're trying to provide to like what's happening right now?
How do I tie the past to now? Well, I think there's just so many incredible like producers now, and there's especially like coming out of Asia, you know, like all these Indonesian producers, and they're on the mark. A lot of them, there's just so many remixes out there, and they're doing the legwork for you. So it's really a matter of just kind of just looking, just listening, and picking out the sounds that kind of get that message across, right? Because you're asking like, how do I blend like the old with the new?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So there's like a lot of producers that already kind of do that for you, and it just goes it's like beyond like the Aaliyah remixes and all that stuff. It's like really like kind of like sitting there on SoundCloud, on Beatport, on these DJ record pools, and just like on Bandcamp and just really listening to everyone's stuff, and then whatever kind of like hits, like checks off those boxes for me, downloading it, paying for the song, writing to them like, on Instagram, like, yo, I'm gonna play a good track at this huge party. Thank you for your sound, building up relationships, getting those free tracks later on. So yeah.
How do you create safety on the dance floor to like leave people open to receiving the education of Professor Bonnie Beats? Like what is safety on a dance floor to you even mean?
Man, so you're a DJ too, right? So I don't sometimes I feel like just being I don't know if I can I say this on air? Can I say this on air? Can I say the F word?
You can say anything you want on
All
Femme House
right.
Radio.
I love it. Well, just being gay as fuck. Honestly, just like and honestly, in the straighter the venue, the gayer. I
Period.
will show out. I am binding that day. Like I will make you uncomfortable. I don't care. Because I think visibility, it all starts with visibility. It is so important. Just because like that's the one thing I think I would have wanted as like a baby gay is like to see more of me out there. So I make it a point to just be authentically me. So I think first and foremost is how you present yourself, how you carry yourself. Like, I've been in clubs where they're like a stickler at the door. And they're like, you gotta wear pants and closed toe shoes. I am in flip flops and jorts up in that DJ booth with a bandana and like something crazy. I don't care. I don't care because that's it. I'm telling you, I think that's where it all starts because it's happened to me before where I've played at a venue and the venue is not letting in certain people to look a certain way, and I'm like, if I can be up here looking like this, you're letting everybody who's looking like me in the door too. And I've literally have gone to managers, I've gone to door people, and I've told them that, and they will listen to me because how can you have me up there and then not have me in the dance floor too? Does that make sense? So I
That
feel
makes
like
complete sense. Yeah.
that's where I start to make safety. And then on top of that, and then like to take it a step further, if you're bringing me in as a promoter or as an event producer, rest assured that those conversations are definitely happening behind closed doors where I do sit with like, venue owners, GMs, and I'm like, we're not this dress code thing. We're gonna revisit it today. We're gonna let the girls come in their heels and their kitten heels, no, where there's not gonna be any inappropriate like pat downs. Like we're gonna have to do things differently. So I make sure that those conversations happen, and sometimes incidents do happen, and it's also just being understanding like that's my party. I'm gonna be held accountable, and then having those conversations again after the fact, like, hey, this was not cool that this happened. So I feel like I don't know, those are things that I don't know if every promoter does that, but I do it, and maybe not too many people know have goes on behind the scenes, but I make it an absolute point to make my parties as safe as possible.
I
Period.
love I love naming that intentionality and how it goes a step beyond just the visibility. It goes a step beyond just the representation. That can be very cozy. That can create a very safe space, right? But systemic safety happens by having these conversations behind the scenes, right? It happens by calling in the stakeholders of an event, whether that be another promoter or a club manager or the bartenders or the security staff. I think that's so dope. I know you have a history of throwing very successful parties. What have you seen sort of come from the safety of those communities that you've built there?
Oh man. Um, Emerging artists. I I've had people who have headline 3 points. Okay, not headline 3 points, but have done a little bit. Oh, I never heard her headline. No, but I've had people like grace like really large stages that I've come across them like years later and I'm like, "Oh my god, you're doing firework." And they're like, "Yeah, thanks to you." And I'm like, "What do you mean thanks to me?" "Yeah, I went to that one party you did." This literally happened. I don't want to say any names because I think it's kind of weird and corny. So, but this one person who is now making waves in the scene and representing queer communities, um we crossed paths because we were shooting. I also act on the side and I do commercials and things like that, and we were shooting a commercial and we were the queer representation in that commercial, and we got to talking and I'm like, "Look, you're doing great things, like holy, like wow, talk to me about that." And they're like, "Yeah, no, it's really you." They're like, "You know what, when I first moved to Miami like X amount of years ago, you were the only one throwing queer parties in this capacity, and your party gave me a space to like be myself." Because they were referring to a party that I had almost like 8 years ago. It was called Catwalk, and it was basically a mini ball, and we would hold. It was like a Vogue party. Think of like Mike Q's old Nights of Vogue. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that part. My party Catwalk. I did it with my partner at the time, my business partner at the time, Goodroyd. Um, I had gone to Nights of Vogue at a trip when I went to New York, and I'm like, "This is crazy. Miami needs this." And I came back to Miami, spoke to my friend at the time, and we created. It started off as a podcast, like a little podcast series, and we were like showcasing like these mixes, and then it turned into a party. Anyways, I tend to digress. But it turned into a party, and that party was a safe space for that one person who now throws their own party, is doing like huge festivals. And yeah, so back to your point, like what are the results of like creating these spaces? It's just like really the next generation of sound and artists, and you never know like who's watching and who you're influencing. And I think that's beautiful. So back to your like what you were saying about intentionality, I think it's so important that with anything and everything we do it with intention because someone's always watching, I believe.
Someone is
Uh,
always watching. What do you think?
mhm.
What do you think? Let's say young Bonnie Beats is watching you right now. What do you want to say to her? What do you think she would say to you?
Ugh, what would I young Bonnie Beats. I would don't don't get discouraged. I think this industry has a way of kind of like beating you down. There's just like these walls that you come across as like as a woman, as a queer person, and it's exhausting sometimes. And you sometimes want to just throw in the towel and be like, "This is just maybe it's not for me." But I would tell her like, keep at it, keep your authenticity, keep your sound, and like what I do, or like we just said right now, somebody's always watching, and you never know who you help that day. Because we really do. We would, I think, as DJs, as event curators, um, we save lives. I think we save lives. Not to be all dramatic.
We
That's
do.
such a
No, we
Leo
do. We
thing to
do.
say.
You
We're
are. I could.
saving lives.
Your fire placement just jumped right the fuck out,
Man,
brother.
I'm fire, and I'm Scorpio rising, Scorpio moon. What sign are you?
I'm Virgo, Sag.
Oh, so you know how to party, but you know when to lock in. You know when to reel it in and be like, yo,
My Virgo's at literally exactly at 0 degrees, and I promise you, I believe that the universe dropped that in there so I wouldn't die. For real, it's my only
I
Earth
love that.
placement. Yeah,
Oh man, I gotta party with you. I mean, I'm telling, I love my Saggies, y'all. You guys are my sisters. I love it. Um, but it's true. It's true. Like, we you really never know, and we really do have an influence. We're like, imagine like all the dance floors that we've graced. How many people? And just like one person looking at you and being like, you know what, she wore that. I can wear that too. Or this person, or they look at us and they're like, I don't know. But it's just like I think we have more influence than we like to give ourselves credit for. So just to keep on keeping on.
the
I don't
power of
know.
visibility, the power of representation, the power of safety in numbers and community. Femme House Radio. This is Bonnie Beats. The industry might beat us down, but Bonnie beats back. You feel me? I'm her mix a lot. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.